Matthew McConaughey is hailed as one of the industry's hottest leading men. His Texan drawl, Hollywood looks, and relaxed demeanour saw him shoot quickly to star status. He's the guy with the happy-go-lucky attitude that makes him as loved by men as by the ladies, which can be broken down to 1, be a gentleman, and 2, don't lie. His life motto is just keep living, taken from his character in Dazed and Confused. He leads a laid-back existence, but don't be fooled. When it comes to acting, he's incredibly focused and hard-working.
There's always something about the first day of work, no matter who you're working with. For me, what's so nerve-wracking is that you are going to record who you are as a character on that day. You're going to record things that you're never going to be able to change for the rest of the film. So you're committing on that first day. You can make different colors along the way, but you are, if you're going to have a limp, you better limp that first day, because if you don't limp the first day, you won't be limping the rest of the film. If you're going to have an accent, you better have it the first day, because you won't have a chance to change it the rest of the film. Your attitude, a lot of major characteristics of your character are established on that first day, and there's no going back. So I'm always very anxious-ridden, but then after that first day's done is always one of my best nights' sleep too, because, like I said, after you've done it, there's nothing you can do about it, so it's also very relaxing.
In 1999, he starred in Ed TV as an ordinary guy who becomes a star overnight. A storyline similar to his own real-life becoming famous experience after his first movie, Dazed and Confused.
Does somewhat parallel what's happened to me. I mean, there's a lot of things in here about I was interested in trying to relive and recapture those moments where the first time you see yourself on the cover of a magazine, the first time you walk down the street and you're not anonymous, the first time someone comes and asks you for an autograph. Those are all, I remember those points, and I went back and I remember looking in the diary going, what did that feel like, And in the midst of a lot of laughter and how cool that really is, there's also something that's a little bit spooky about it, It's a little bit like, what? What do you want? You wanted me to sign what? Why? There's a little bit of that.
In 2001, he starred alongside Jennifer Lopez in The Wedding Planner. It debuted at the top of the box office, making J-Lo the first artist to have a film and album at #1 in the same week. However, for McConaughey, the lightweight comedy did little to show more of his acting range. Reign of Fire was the opposite. Not a huge success at the box office, but a role that let him prove his acting ability.
He's absolutely insane in this movie. He is nothing like he's ever done before, and I applaud his artistic choice for saying, okay, this is not what they've seen me do. This is not what I've been successful at before. But he loved the role so much and he loved the movie so much that he said, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to transform myself physically. I'm going to transform my performance into something I've never done before. And he worked as hard as I've ever seen anybody work, every day, every scene, every moment, to make sure that it was as true as possible.
Next came a massive hit, the romantic comedy How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, co-starring Kate Hudson. On screen, they sizzled.
Their chemistry on screen has far surpassed what I was hoping for. I think what the studio expected. I think we were all shocked. We knew it would be good, but they are really hot.
A lot of our chemistry, I think, with Kate and I is going to be between stuff that we don't even say. We're very comfortable in each other's physical space. She's very easy to be attracted to.
The star power of both Matthew and Kate, combined with the undeniable chemistry they had on screen, saw offers come flooding in for them to work together again. For the pair, it was just a matter of picking the right one that wasn't too similar, but would allow their special chemistry to shine through. They eventually picked the adventure comedy romance Fool's Gold. So, what was Kate most looking forward to about working together again?
When this movie came along, it just felt like, well, it's an adventure movie, so that's alone is completely different than How to Lose a Guy. We're two completely different characters, and yet our relationship is kind of the push and pull, and the stuff that makes our relationship made it work in How to Lose a Guy was very similar in essence in this. So
when she came on and talked to me on the phone, she calls me back a couple days later and she goes, McConaughey, I can't stand you again. That's part of the fun of it right there.
But it's really funny because they know how to push each other's buttons, almost like an old married couple. So you end up kind of wanting to harness that, and they're incredibly professional, incredibly fun. They love the script, and so it was, once they start rolling, they just, as the movie progresses while we were shooting, you can see them just kind of falling back into their rhythms that they had, obviously, when they did How to Lose a Guy. And
Yeah, he does wind me up.
How does he wind you up, and how do you wind
Because
him
he
up?
drives me nuts. Because he does weird things, he does weird things. But I think it starts with love. So I guess it's like, we've known each other a long time now. But it starts with love, and then it ends with, the old, like, you're just driving me crazy with your sounds and your things you leave around, and I drive him crazy with my, my tenacity and always being late. He can't stand that I'm late. So, it's like any other relationship that you have with your friends or your loved ones,
We're kind of a pain in each other's backsides, man. We kind of get on each other's nerves in a really good way. We get along, but we also push each other's buttons, And if you catch that on film, that's part of the fun in watching us on film. We have a good time together, man, and we got good timing together, I've always said we fight and we flirt well.
But for some reason, people like the way it translates with us on screen, and that makes me feel great. That's it. That's all I have to say.
The pairing paid off and audiences flocked to the cinema. Fool's Gold did big business at the box office, but McConaughey's smart enough not to get too carried away by it all.
You don't know what's going to happen. A lot of it's luck. I've been really lucky in a lot of things I've done. It's hard work, but then some of the things I worked the hardest on never saw the light of day. Some of the things I thought were so easy and were Fool's Gold turned out to be diamonds in the rough. So you never really know.
In between How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days and Fool's Gold, Matthew landed the kind of role he'd been waiting for, Sahara. The film showcased another of his talents, producing. Matthew was at the helm as the executive producer, his first time in this role.
I've been looking for the right franchise guy, man. Been looking for the right sort of Indiana Jones, James Bond, dude for a while. And I'd read a bunch, and they were either too much Roadhouse, too much were just a badass, or they were too much where he was just too cleaned up. And I was like, no. I need the guy who can wrestle the gator, but also dance with the queen in the same day. So that's who we found in Dark Pit, and he's a guy that's fun, man.
And we thought that it was really time for an Indiana Jones for this generation.
I will say this, I had such a good time and worked so hard on making it that after we finished, the next morning I woke up at 6 a.m., was all dressed, ready to go to work, and my assistant came up and goes, hey man, no, it's finished, you don't go to work today. And I was like, what? Let's go. And he was like, no, so it had been for quite a while. That was cool, man.
He loved it so much he's chafing at the bit to get a sequel off the ground.
That's the hope. That's the hope. That's one of the reasons I got into it, is if people go out and see this and like it, we're going to come back and do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more.
Matthew loves to travel. When he was 18, he spent a year on exchange in Australia, and he reckons his chilled out ways and laid back sense of humour are because us Aussies rubbed off on him. And he doesn't do it in the usual Hollywood way. He prefers to chuck a backpack on his back and buy a one-way ticket.
I love checking out God's big backyard. Going over to places where no one speaks the same vocabulary, you got different rituals, and customizing, learning something, absorbing their culture, and then coming out of it going, oh yeah, that's right, we're all the same. Everyone wants to eat some food and put some food in their belly, take care of their loved ones, have a roof over their head, and hopefully wake up tomorrow. Oh, yeah.
Matthew McConaughey has his own production company, clothing line, and charitable foundation that helped with Hurricane Katrina relief. Plus, he works with Oprah's Angel Network. He's such a likeable, down-to-earth guy, and his celebrity hasn't changed him a bit.
I'm not afraid to go, I don't know. So that keeps me from getting embarrassed, because I can just go, hell, I don't know.
And some final words of wisdom.
Just keep living, man. I don't know.
Matthew McConaughey's unique charisma, devilish charm, comic talent, and easygoing approach to life are what makes him one of the most sought-after stars in Hollywood. And that doesn't look to be changing anytime soon. He's a paparazzi favourite whenever he gets his shirt off, and yes, he has been voted one of the sexiest men alive time and time again. But just like with everything else, it doesn't really faze him. He's the kind of guy that just stays true to himself regardless, and that's why he's one of our favourites. Stay tuned to Star Picks for all the movies you know and the actors you love, broadcast in glorious high definition with 5.1 surround sound where available. For more of the best in entertainment news, check out your Movie Network channels. It's all together better on screen and at mnc.tv.